Hey, welcome everybody. Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV here with Bish's very own new X232 Go Explore. Go Explore is a series exclusive to us at Bish's RV. This is going to be very similar to a few things out there in the marketplace. Certainly, this floor plan is a very popular floor plan. We didn't try to reinvent the wheel on a very popular layout. We tried to tune it up a little bit to include more family functional features on this, things that you're going to use every day. We've tried to include. So what did we do a little bit different on this? Well, we went with a slightly bigger bed, but one that you could still walk around. It's called an Olympic Queen. So it gives you that extra elbow room. It's really handy, like if you have a small dog like I do that likes to try to sleep between you and your partner, you know, it's nice to have that extra space, but it's not so big that you're rubbing your backside on the wall to every time you want to get out of bed and walk around the thing. You don't got to feel like, oh boy, I got to go on a diet. No, you can go have another Hot Pocket or whatever. There is Asdel below the fiberglass skin. It does have a heated enclosed underbelly, but those things are kind of becoming dime a dozen features. Well, we did a little bit different on this. A little bit taller ceiling, carpetless, ventless floor. Some brands have that, some brands don't, but so many smarter things like storage solutions, like the dinette seats. They stick out a little bit so you can grab them and flip them up and get to the storage under the dinette without needing to disassemble it. We included totes under the dinette to get to that more easily, totes under the bed that you could use, store all kinds of stuff that could be used indoors or outdoors. There's shoe storage built into the steps. We have key block removable generic mounts that include things like if you want a place to hang some towels to dry or have garbage outside, you have those. There's extra pegboard in the front pass-through compartment to keep your stuff organized. There's a little wet bay there if you want to use it like a cooler or put some wet bathing suits in there. We have laundry storage solutions on this. It's a folding move out the way cargo bunk. Bigger vent fan in the bathroom coming very, very soon. Not actually done yet, but coming very, very soon. And just a bunch of other little things like a bigger air conditioner and so much more. We are super excited about this because a lot of your feedback that you've given us on these videos was applied here. So we really want to hear from you. What do you like? And what would you like us to, where can we continue to push the envelope for you? And if you appreciate how we're listening to you and making an RV series literally based almost exclusively on your feedback, hit that subscribe button. Let's see what she has to offer. So what she got going on here? If you've been looking for like a 30-foot bunkhouse camper, chances are you've seen somebody with a floor plan like this or very similar. Now, this one has the entry door in front of the kitchen. Some of them have the entry door closer to the bunks, you know, like Imagine and J-Feather kind of do it that way. It's basically the same camper. It's just how you want to look at it. You know, it doesn't really matter. The cool thing about this version of the floor plan is that when the slide closes, you maintain really good, what I call road mode access. And we're going to actually close the slide up, take a look at that in a little bit. In the meantime here, what do we got going on? Taller 6'9" ceiling is one of the things I really like on this, but also a 15,000 BTU Coleman Mach Air will be factory standard on these. We've had some people asking us, say, hey, man, I'm in Florida, I'm in Texas, I'm in these really, really hot, humid, potentially, climates. Can I, you know, this is 30 amp. Can I get it 50 amp? Can I get it second air prepped? It's very possible. We might need to do that on a custom build out, and there's very few things that we can actually change because this is very cookie cutter. But our production partner, where these are made in that factory, they do offer on some of the other things that they make 50 amp service. They do offer second air conditioners. It is potentially possible for us to fulfill that for you, but it's probably not what you're going to see in stock most of the time. It's very possible at our Texas store. We might have these 50 amp and either second air prepped or with a second air down there, but just kind of keep in mind that's just sort of a thing to log in the back of the memory banks. They are carpetless. We are ventless, you know, we're nice and easy cleaning. And they did a thing here. Well, they did a thing I like and a thing I don't on the dinette. U-dinettes are tricky when it comes to table legs, because most free-floating table legs are just too big and bulky, and they really get in the way. And they on a two-bench dinette, it's different. On a U-dinette, these things are sometimes almost necessary. But also, the rear bench, we left it kind of open air. I like the visual negative space of it, but it lets you kind of curl your legs under you, which is sort of nice. While I'm down here, I also want to point out something. These are thermofoil like kitchen and dining countertops. And some people get freaked out about that. And I get that. I'm not trying to change your mind on it. I want you to understand, though, there's a difference between thermofoil topped and a sealed thermofoil countertop. You see how you're looking at sealed plastic? It's fully enclosed. There's no exposed particle board wood core where water can get into your dining table or your kitchen counters on these. There's a major difference there. One of our big goals with this, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh man, we built the perfect camper. There's things on this RV that I'm looking at today that need attention, but our goal is to try to engineer as much warranty out of it as we possibly can. So little things like enclosing the countertops so they don't get water in them was a big portion of it. Now, sometimes people have noticed, they'll go like, hey, why do the dinette cushions stick out so far? Why are they like this, you know? Well, the answer is because that's literally going to be a handle for you to lift up the seat to get to the storage. And I'll show you that in a little bit because our dinette storage solution on this is awesome. Actually, one of the things that I really am super, super proud of in this is what we did with all of the storage solutions in general. And in fact, let's just start peeling this onion apart and looking at all that space. So to begin with, we have pocket-screwed lumber core cabinetry, which basically means it's not exclusively like staples holding everything together. You can see the hidden hinge cabinetry work there, the magnet holdbacks. Those things are very low cost and they just provide some cleaner, nicer eye appeal when you're not looking at all that, you know, cabinet door hardware when everything's closed up. Now, you might notice something if you got a really good eye. You might notice the back of that pantry is not quite as deep as the sidewall. That's where we have basically some of your holding tank stink pipes are run up through the walls back there, but it also means that you don't have to look like you're giving an elephant an enema reaching armpit deep into the pantry to get to that stuff. And cue the Legend of Zelda sound effect. This is something I actually really like. And you could take it out if you don't like it, but I love the fact that we're not just thinking of giving you a space for a wastebasket solution, but actually just doing the thing so that it's just done for you. I actually think it'd be very cool. In our X225, there's an extra drawer right there where you can keep your garbage bags. I think that that could be really cool in that space. And if you're like, I don't want my garbage in there, don't put your garbage in there. Nothing says you have to. You might have noticed it's a normal traditional propane oven. We're not forcing exclusively like an electric cooking solution, and some bigger spaces for things like pots, pans where possible. That dead panel under the cabinets there, you might notice how if you got, again, a really good eye, I actually unscrewed it. I look back there. That's where you have things like some water bypasses and some furnace venting and things like that. But also plywood drawers down to the floors over here, brother, so that you got plenty of room for your forks, spoons, and knives and playing cards. But also just little things like a place for your keys by the door. You could just have your phone sitting there so it's quickly accessible, but also not in your pants. If you're like, we have one of our sales guys in Omaha, Nebraska. His name's Bittner, Jacob Bittner. And when he's not working, he's of the generation that wears the Shorty McShort Pants short shorts. And I don't think he's got room for a cell phone in his pocket. So that might be really handy for him. Shout out to you there, Jacob in Omaha. I feel like Casey Kasem. This one goes out to Jacob in Omaha. Spice rack. Sink cover holder plate, just little small smart details like that, like the actual place to hang paper towels in the kitchen. Most RVs don't do that. Very few RVs do that. Brands like Grand Design have gotten very good about that. Like you find things like that in like Transcend and Imagine and whatnot. And we're doing the same thing. We think that's a really good idea. This is a 10 cubic foot fan, I think 10.7 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge over there, by the way. And you might notice how we have some USB plugs right there, basically in the whole booth area, wherever we can, with yet another little phone holder, making a handy little booth phone charging station. This can fold down into a sleeper, but remember how I mentioned it's got some easy storage solutions, and that's why the dinette cushions stick out a bit? Well, this is what I mean. We tried to combine all the feedback we had. So many people had different ideas on how to access dinette storage that we basically came up with all the solutions in one. The dinette cushions stick out a little bit, so you can just grab them and lift them up and get to the storage. But you might notice there's drawers or cabinet doors on there, and some people like drawers, some people don't. So we included these handy little totes right here, where basically they can act like a drawer. You can put really heavyweight stuff on them if you need to. But what's also kind of cool is it makes it easier to get to the storage in the back of the booth. Like if I boot kick that sucker back there real quick, the all the way back, you can reach in and you can grab that tub, but in the meantime, you have a dedicated little function space in the front for small stuff. So I think we came up with a solution right there. It's not like it's the first time that's ever been done in the industry. No, that's not original whatsoever, but it's just not done a lot. And it makes me wonder why, because it's simple, it's easy, and it's effective, you know? The double over double bunks back here, one of the things that I want you to know about these is the upper and lower bunks both have their own breeze windows. And not only do they have their own lights, they have these handy little cargo pockets, but also right here on the light, there's a USB plug built right on the light. So you do have at least one USB plug for the upper bunk and the lower bunk both. Now, it is a single curtain bunk system. I personally wouldn't mind it if it was two separate curtains so that the kids in the upper and lower beds aren't constantly fighting over that. And you can see that this is one of those like move bunk, get out the way, cargo bunk kind of things where the bunk folds up and you've got the full access cargo door. But any space that we possibly could, we created some little pocket. Like there's no just wasted, stupid, dead pocket space under this whatsoever. You may have also noticed how this is a fully enclosed, what I call... well, it's not a peekaboo, I smell you bathroom door, because we know that some people don't really like that. I want to make very clear, at the initial release rollout of these, they are rocking that not sexy dollar store 4-inch fart fan. That is not going to be the long-term solution. Basically, we have to get some coating stuff approved, and we are going to the XL Fajita Friday Fume Fighting Fart Fan factory standard on these so that you can have the ventilation, giving you the breeze that you want, where you want it. The headroom in the shower is also great. I'm a little bit over 6 foot tall. I fit in there just fine. But you might notice it's a larger rectangular kind of shower pan. By the way, what's your preference? Do you like shower curtain? It's a little bit of a shub, by the way. It's just deep enough you could bathe a baby, but otherwise you're doing, campsite showers in this thing. But it's got a wider footprint, so if you need more hip, shoulder, elbow room, if you're a fluffy kind of camping friend, you have the ability to comfortably bathe yourself in here. The space around the toilet, I thought, overall, was fairly fluffy friendly. The rest of the bathroom is straightforward, but effective, like a decent amount of counter space for no bigger than it is. We did give you a dedicated medicine cabinet. You might have noticed the Sonic the Hedgehog towel hanging up there because we actually did give you some dedicated towel hooks. We wanted this to be, again, a very smartly equipped functional space right here. And I think once that fan gets done, it'll really complete this bathroom nicely. What are your thoughts here? So climbing into the shower with you, which is a creepy statement, but a great way to conserve water. If you want to be really green in your camping initiative, rub bellies and conserve soap and water. Working our way out of here. So from the back to the front, here's what we're looking at. And yeah, let's address the fact that by default, looking at this thing, it's absolutely in its default state, a 90-degree neck-wrecking entertainment center. We kind of built this one around family first and watching TV second. We did make sure that, from basically the only seating space in the RV, which is a point of consideration on this camper, it only has a dinette to sit at, you can pivot the TV so that most of the booth seating has some kind of view. So if you do need to kind of have SpongeBob SquarePants entertaining me and the children, because I like me some SpongeBob, you have the capacity there. So let me ask you, should we leave everything as it is, or should we mount that TV above the kitchen where those two overhead cabinets are located, and then build some taller but more shallow storage over here on this wall? Is the direct view entertainment center worth it? Yes or no? And there's no wrong answers. I want to hear from everybody, and we're going to see what we need to do. If we need to adjust it, we can. Now, the RV does have dimmable lighting, and that is an electric space heat and Tootsie Toast and electric heat and fireplace down there. I think I said electric twice, so I could tell the time in London and England simultaneously. But they cause flickering on camera, and I don't want to cause issues for our more light-sensitive viewers. Also, all around the RV, kind of just, it's easy to miss them, but just in little key places, we've added a couple of these little, you could just hang a jacket or a dog leash or something on them, but they just fold up, they're out of the way when you don't need them kind of thing. And before I forget, not only are all the windows breeze windows, but you also got the blackout roller shades on these. We asked people, what kind of window shades do you want? They said, we want these. We don't want the cloth pleated ones. We could make that happen on a Go Explorer. We have the budget to make that happen. Now, up here in the bedroom, there's so many things I want to talk about. There's a lot to cover right here. One of the first things I think is really, really neat, although, oh my Lord, this is kind of wiggly. We got to get that straightened out, is we basically built in a laundry storage solution. You don't have to use it, but when you get to your destination, you just push that down, and it actually slides inside and outside of the RV right there. So now we got a place for yesterday's clothes now that it's today. You don't have to use it. It's just there if you want it. It's gone if you don't. Now, if you look up at the headboard area, this has become kind of a feedback battleground point for us. And again, we're going to do what you want us to do right here. There's this overhead shelf. Some people like it. Some people don't. Some people want to sit up in bed and read a book or watch their phone. Some people don't. Should we keep that shelf or should we kill that shelf? Because that's very easy to do. We just need to know which way you want us to go. The power outlets, we're trying to get a better location for those. Ideally, where I originally wanted those outlets was right here against the front wall right there. But because of the shape of the nose cap, there wasn't enough room behind the nose cap to hide the power outlet receptacle. So we had to kind of move them. We could put them under, oh, hello, we have extra lighting over here. We could put them under this overhead cabinet right there, like you're seeing, where there's some USB plugs. That's where Cruiser RV puts them. I wanted them to be more visible, but I want them to be functional first. Like you can see some USB plugs are still under there. So let us know what we should do with that. Now, if you look up here, you've got, your side and hanging wardrobe storage, but over the bed, we gave you full cabinet storage and like Elphaba from Wicked, they're going to try to defy gravity. You might be surprised, but I'm actually a person who enjoys musicals. So I like musicals and I like heavy metal. I grew up on country music and 80s rap. I have such a weird collection of pop culture references. That's why the stuff in my videos is always just all over the place. But we gave you easy overhead storage access that you don't have to fight with, essentially. By the way, your bedroom lights are also dimmable. Now down here, some people wanted a queen, some people wanted a king. The problem with king beds in RVs is they're not real kings. And you can't get aftermarket mattresses and sheets to easily replace them. So we went with what's called an Olympic queen to kind of split the difference. It's 66 by 80. And this is something you actually can get replacement mattresses and sheets for because it is an accepted standardized residential size. Less common in the residential world, but it is a real thing that you can get replacements for. But here's the thing. It's what's under the bed that I love the most. We put a pair of heavy-duty struts to make it liftable to get out of the way. We reinforced the tops of these dresser stands and padded them, so if you want to sit down here and fold laundry, you can. Some people prefer to fold laundry on top of the bed. Some people prefer to fold laundry below it. I don't know your life anyway. But we also included easy dresser storage, but we made the drawers open out so you don't have to lift the bed to get to it. But then we realized that there's some space between the dressers that we could get even cuter with. So we again went back to the idea of what's functional. You know what almost everyone's going to want some point on a trip? A picnic table. So we built in storage and included a 2-foot by 4-foot picnic table. It's not massive, but it's not nothing. And under the bed, you also get a pair, kind of like the totes that we saw under the dinette. You get 2 more under the bed, except these have cup holder tops. So if you want to use them outside between camping chairs or something, you could totally do that too. Or you could not use them. You could do whatever you wanted. And if you wanted to get them out of the way, you have just some open space here. That could be shoe storage. I could see somebody putting a little pet pad down there. That could be a little bitty pet palace. You could do some fun little 4-legged furry friend kind of things. A lot of people, I don't think the RV industry realizes how many cat campers are out there. Leave me a comment, by the way, if you camp with pets and what kind of pet that you camp with. I'd be very curious to know because I think the number of cat campers is still in the minority, but it's rising and it's much bigger than people actively realize. Some people are always asking, where could I put a litter box? Some people don't want it in a bedroom, but some people just want a spot for it, and that's a spot where it could. Now, the reason that I slid back here in the bathroom is to demonstrate the fact that the road mode on this one is excellent. And it's kind of crazy the difference it makes when the slide's open and closed, isn't it? What is cool about this one, though, is front to back to front again. You have just an easy walk-through space available to you here. Now, this is a rack and pinion slide. What that means is that it's generally considered the most desirable because it's considered the most reliable. People who have camped have told us, like we asked, what slide system do you want if we build a series of campers for you, or have built, because we're not, Bish's isn't physically, personally building these, but people said rack and pinion, so we went with that. By the way, I love the fact that even when the bedroom pocket doors are closed, there's still enough room to butt scoot boogie around this thing. And you might notice, I didn't specifically point this out previously, but you do have sliding privacy doors, and your bedroom TV hookups, because of that, have to kind of be off to the side. It's very rare we find people wanting to put bedroom hook up a TV in here, but it's there if you want it. Anyway, front to back to front again. You can get through everything. You just don't want to sit in the dinette while it's closed. You can leave the fridge packed because it's basically, there's more structure built around it, but the dinette's it's a horse of a different color. But you got that cargo bunk. I've got the bathroom door open right now so that I can demonstrate the fact that you can easily get in and out of here. The bathroom door is going to clear. But that cargo bunk back here, if you wanted to, I think you could actually load a 2-person kayak up the backside of this thing. And as long as you got some kind of little way to strap it down, it's good to go. I kind of call it like A- road mode function. For travel stops and stuff, this thing's very handy. So when the video began, I described this as potentially half-ton towable, and I do think that it kind of still fits that descriptor. It really will depend on the specific capacities of your half-ton and where you're towing it, but most late model tow package half-tons are going to find this one within their safe realm of capability. So beyond that, what are we looking at here? Obviously, you got the full candy-coated nose cap. What do you think of that, by the way? Because we could probably shave $500 to $800 off the price tag and a little bit of weight off the sticker by not having the nose cap. And the RV would function exactly the same. There would be no functional difference. The nose cap has no functional benefit, but man, it looks really good. Take a look at this. Then if you're willing to offer that feedback, take a look at an RV with just a full fiberglass nose sweep. It just looks, to me, it just looks and feels much cheaper by comparison. And not cheap in a good budget way, cheap in like a, ooh, corny cutty way, you know? Corny cutty way. Yeah, let's roll with that. Power tongue jack on this thing. We don't have things like full auto leveling available on these, although we're not opposed if you think the juice is worth the squeeze, but that's usually like a $2,000 ticket right away. The black box behind the battery is an RV battery disconnect on steroids, essentially, so that there's no parasitic load eating off the battery when you're not using it. And to help you make sure your batteries are going to be charged up when you're ready to go, we do have a factory standard solar package up there on the roof. It's 190 watt standard, 30 watt or 30 amp charge controller. If you wanted to expand on that, we can slap on an additional solar panel right from our store. It'll go up to basically about 2 of those panels before you gotta do any sort of custom rewiring. We also have these wired up for a 2,000 watt inverter, which is where you see the inverter prep right there. All those outlets inside that had the white stickers, that's where that's going to be. Your charge controller we put up front in the passenger compartment for a couple reasons. One, it's much better access point for like service purposes, but 2, having that USB plug out there, because this RV has no outside speaker system. Based on your feedback that you've presented on these videos, we killed the integrated factory stereo because most people said they sound like crap and they're leak points, so we got rid of them. We tried to engineer the warranty out of the camper where we reasonably could. It gives you a spot to plug in and charge a Bluetooth speaker, you know? It's prepped and ready for tire pressure monitoring. I'll tell you this, if you are like, man, I want to go cross country, I want to go down the highways a bunch, you'll probably want to add that TPMS system. You may want to upgrade the tires, and you may want to do something like a MORryde suspension upfit. But those are things that could be done that not everybody necessarily needs. You know, if we build a series above and beyond this, I wouldn't be surprised if we included some of those. Now, the fishing pole is just kind of here for display, but basically, we added just a extra chunk of tube to the top of this thing to give you a place to store some of that stuff. And you see the pegboard on the front and the little you know, the Metallica organizer jobs here. Those are things that we are including in this for you so that like you don't have to go to the hardware store and buy the little pegboard organizers. And then we have this little spot here in the pass-through compartment. Some folks are like, this is great. And some folks are like, this has no benefit to me. The thing is, if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. It's just a little tub with a drain. You could throw some ice in it, you could pull the plug, the water can dribble out and not go into your RV, and it could be like a little cooler that you can keep behind a lockable slam latch with magnet hold back baggage door right here. You could use it for wet bathing suits. You could use it for wheel chocks and fiddly bits. It doesn't have to be wet stuff. And if you're like, I'm not going to use it for wet, don't use it for wet stuff. You don't have to do anything with it. It's just there, and it doesn't hurt anything by being there. That was kind of the idea that we put into this. Now, you saw, I think I showed you, if I didn't, I failed, in the bedroom, you have the laundry hamper solution. Somebody in one of the previous Go Explore videos said, I would probably come up with my own laundry solution. I don't want it eating up my cargo space. It doesn't have to. It only will eat up your cargo space if you want it to. It's up out of the way when it's in that push down mode or whatever. And if you don't I don't want my laundry, in my bedside stand, then don't use it. Just take the basket out, throw it away, throw it on the burn pile, throw it at a gas station, murder hobo. I don't know. You don't have to do anything with it if you don't want to, but it's there if you do. We put some lights on the nose cap so you can cheese off the neighbors. I would recommend turning those things off at night. But they're just there because they look neat, but they're not a lot of function to them. The lights under the awning, though, that's a horse of a different color. And did you notice, you see that switch that's open in that front passenger compartment in the bottom right corner of the screen, that little switch panel? That is a 3-way switch for your outside awning. You can open and close the awning from ground level. Never have to go in and out of the RV. Never have to let the air conditioning or the heating out or whatever. Never have to let the bugs in the camper. Here's something that we are looking at revising. So let us know what you think. By default, coming out from the factory initially, these have these glass doors. They look really neat. And I think that's probably why our design team went with them, because they look really neat. There are some people, though, who have said, this concerns me. If it breaks, it's more expensive. It's harder to deal with. And I have personally put my hands on these things in just the Michigan sun, not even like the Texas, Arizona sun. And these things are borderline will singe your fingertips off like Will Smith in Men in Black when he gets inducted into the organization there. We are looking at changing that over to a fiberglass door instead of a glass front door. And I'd be curious, what do you think about that? We went with the safety rail handle. It doesn't fold down over the door, which is a travel security measure. I get that. But it also gives you more to grab onto when you're coming in and out. And anywhere that we could, we're like, could we do something else with this? Your stable steps. We added, I'm actually going to literally kick off my shoes as I'm walking around, so pardon the weird camera footage. We added little shoe storage organizer into this thing, so that if you want to keep the clutter out, like I've talked to a lot of people who have traded in campers who are like, we have a no shoes in the camper policy. Well, there you go. But it just Velcros on. If you're like, I don't like that, or buckle straps on, whatever, you get the idea. If you're like, I don't like that, that does nothing for me, great, get rid of it. Don't do anything with it. This is another one of those things you don't have to use, but we've included 2 fixtures for you here. If you go to an RV campsite, you find people with Walmart trash bags tied onto like their entry door handles and all kinds of stuff. So we said, wouldn't it be a gas if we included a solution for you? But what if you don't want your trash hanging off the side of the RV? Stay tuned, and I'll show you alternatives that you have there. I do want to point out this. This is, I think, a real point for consideration. Your on-demand water heater and your furnace exhaust hot touch points are both over here on the campsite of your RV. I don't like that, but in this floor plan, there's just no way around it. So make sure you educate the kids. Don't touch that stuff. It could be frickin' hot, and that's a great way to have a kid bawling alligator tears and ruining the camping trip. And it's not the kid's fault, It's just the nature of the beast. You got to use a measure of common sense, and kids don't always have that developed, so we have to kind of help them along the way. Now, camp kitchens are one of those things we get super mixed feedback on, and we did what we're looking at here based on viewer feedback on a previous video I put out. Some people said, I really like it when there's a grill or a griddle. And some people said that means nothing to me, but the fridge is kind of nice. Can't you just do storage or whatever? So we split the difference. We added some pocket shelf storage on the right. We added Dad's medicine cabinet on the left for the bottled water and the barley pop. And then for those of you who want a grill or a griddle, instead of dealing with the crappy ones that the RV industry usually gives you, we just gave you a gas grill hookup so you could do whatever you wanted with it. Is that the right way? Is that the wrong way? I don't think I'm ever going to get a consistent answer, but I'm curious. I think overall that splits the difference best we could. The belly's enclosed and forced air heated. People love that phrase. Is it 4 seasons? No RV is truly 4 seasons. I don't care what sticker the manufacturer puts on and what kind of hot dog paper foil they put in the underbelly. That doesn't make it magically 4 seasons. I will tell you this is extended season. I'll tell you that if it dips below freezing tonight, and then it comes back tomorrow, you're going to be fine. We were doing some training with our team inside the RV the other day at my home store in Michigan. It was 4 degrees outside. Very quickly, it heated up inside and the furnace kicked off because it was able to get to and maintain temp at 4 degrees. Now, we had about 10 salespeople who billow a lot of hot air in those things, to be fair. But the fact is, it can work. It did get the job done. We already kind of saw how we have the folding cargo bunk. Notice that we even put the slam latches that are key lockable on that. By the way, the name of it's a slam latch. You don't have to jackhammer that sucker. You don't have to get super violent aggressive with it. Now, remember the trash can thing that we saw, and I said we'd come back to that? What if you don't want trash? Or what if you need to hang some towels or something like that, but you want to exchange this? Here's the cool thing. This is just called a key block mount, and we are shipping with it the towel holder and the wastebasket, the trash bag storage. But there are literally like hundreds, I think, of potential accessories that you can get for these things off like Amazon, shipped right to your house. But again, if you don't want the garbage, like you're like, I don't want flies all around my campsite by my picnic table, nothing says you have to slap it over there on the door side of the camper. You can, we give you 2 different mounting locations so that you can put different things in different places where you want them, how you want them. Now, in the front and rear bottom corners, you see the little silver circles. Those are, I call them drunken uncle leash latches. You can keep your 4-legged furry friends tied up to the RV, or your kids. We're not judging. Sometimes they get jacked up on Mountain Dew and marshmallows. You got to tie them down like a wallaby sport. Anybody remember that song? We are prepped for a ladder and a rear camera system, and I would like your input on something. I mean it very seriously, where your input literally is like directly the decision maker on the directions that we go with this product here. We've always tried to do that in our Wayfinder series, but our Go Explore series is the area where we have the most ability to do that for a number of reasons. Anyway, do you prefer just the ladder prep, or would you prefer a ladder built on? We've heard some early feedback. A lot of people saying I'd prefer a ladder built right on. We are actively looking at that as a potential solution, maybe on a 2026 update, maybe sooner, maybe not. You will really be the determining factor on which way we go there. Also, on the we're not done. Like even the sewer area of this thing, we paid attention to the poop stuff. And I'm really kind of boxed into the corner at this event where I'm at, but I think we can still get the job done. One of the problems, like some RVs have like a sewer hose tube kind of thing, but they're not big enough to like leave fittings on or to store fittings. So we actually went with a bigger, wider one. I would kind of like it if we could find one that's a little bit longer. We are actively working on that. For now, this is what we have, but we're always trying to work to improve these. But additionally, if you want a place to keep like your rubber gloves or anything like that, we've built on an extra little storage box right in the skirting right here, right above your single consolidated sewer hookup, to just make this whole arrangement and situation a little less crappy. So thanks again for tuning in. As I always do, I will leave you some links down in the video description for pricing and availability. Also some links to some other models. Like if you're like, yeah, I want a little bit bigger. I want a full super slide. We have a full super slide bunkhouse. That's called the X232. I got video on that out there. If you're like, I don't want bunks. You got some without bunks? Yes, absolutely we do. Actually, most of the Go Explorers are non-bunkhouse models. Or if you're like, you know, I don't really care for that Olympic Queen bed. Fine, that's neat, guy, but not my thing. Take a look in the video description. There's brands like Bullet who make a similar thing. Or if you're like, I want an even bigger bed, take a look at the MPG version of this. We know that there's other things. We don't think this is necessarily the best, period. It's not the best, full stop. But it might be the best for you. It might not. I don't know. Let us know how we're doing. And until next time, keep that feedback coming, and we'll keep them developing, basically. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.